Ladies and gentlemen, order in the court. Today's proceedings finds the people versus James McGill.
Legal troubles got you down? Bosses refusing the payout? Hit and run leave you stunned? Drug lords in your future? Maybe not. Because he'll get your case dismissed. He'll get you the defense you deserve. But only if you say the words.
Oh no, I need legal representation. Whatever shall I do? What do I say? Oh wait, I know. Better Call Saul. So without further ado, let's begin. Judging Saul. Court is now in session.
You will atone.
That's all Goodman wanted me for, is to be in his dumb commercial, Dragon. Can you believe that? That's what that phone call was all about at the end of the day. Alright, I'm sorry. So, Dragon, we are talking Season 5, Episode 5, Dedicado a Max. So, let's not waste any time, Dragon. What credits are we dealing with this one?
Really good credits. Blast from the past level credits. So the director on this was Jim McKay. Now, Jim McKay directed one episode of Breaking Bad. A very memorable episode. An episode that introduced Ken Wins. Cancer Man. that was Jim McKay's episode. Cancer Man, way back when. Alright, so Jim McKay directed this, and the writer was Heather Marin. Heather Marin, who wrote for Better Call Saul. She wrote two episodes that feel very appropriate to this one. Talk, the big Mike episode from last season, and the season before that, she wrote Slip, the episode where Jimmy's scheming away with things.
Nice.
All right.
Okay, so let's not waste any time, Dragon. You know who we love?
Mike!
We love Mike, and we get to Mike early, Dragon. Start of the episode, Mike love, hoorah!
Oh, for the love of Mike. So, folks, if you Okay, so folks, if you haven't gathered by now, I mean, if you're just kind of jumping to episode 5 just randomly for some reason, which I don't know, maybe you may just want to kind of like a recap in the midst of...
Someone just searches Better Call Saul recap, we're probably not the last thing that comes up.
No, not the last. Definitely not the first. But
not the first, no, but I'm just saying it. We might be there on like page 2 or page 3 if people are really desperate for Saul coverage.
We're somewhere between number 7 and 15. Anyway,
right.
So folks, we adore not only the actor that is Jonathan Banks, but we love the character of Mike Ehrmantraut, the character he brought to life, and we like to kind of commemorate that. Apparently this season, kind of an I Love Lucy kind of fashion visually, but kind of like an advent calendar meets I Love Lucy in terms of how we like to celebrate each episode, our ever-growing fondness for Mike Ehrmantraut by kind of commemorate his little... kind of visually like a little moment from a little snapshot of life in the Albuquerque verse for a good old Mike Ehrmantraut, who this season he's been put through the ringer, man. This episode's kind of the repair.
My favorite episode so far, Dragon. I got to eat a lot of good food. It was delightful.
Yes. So, getting into it. So, episode we pick up with Mike, because last episode, if you remember, Mike got stabbed, and it looked like he was a goner until the very end showed us that someone mysteriously saved Mike, and Mike is in he's across the border. He is in this kind of a hideaway Mexican town.
Yeah.
So we pick up with Mike in the Mexican hideaway town from Breaking Bad. Of course, we've seen this location before. This was the location where Gus Fring, after he got his big revenge in Salute, he and Mike they get injured in the line of getting revenge, and they were hoisted to this little town. At the beginning of season 5, Mike's feeding the chickens in this little town. So this is Mike being taken to the little town for the first time, like Gustavo Fring.
When you say little town, I just think of like an Epcot village or something.
It is. It's a cute little town that just kind of
Got like
founded
a
here.
fountain in the center of it and
Yeah.
everything. There's a lot of Epcot World Showcase pavilions that are like that.
So Mike, I love that Mike has his own Mrs. Nguyen in this episode.
God.
So Mike has Mrs. Cortazar.
Dragon, I have a coworker who's also exactly like this woman too, so shout out to Marta from work. I love you, Marta. Can't wait to see you again. Anyways.
I hope Marta falls into some money soon. Perhaps like a giant iniquitous house of some variety. Anyway,
That'd be nice. That'd be nice.
Getting back on point. So Mike he meets Mr. Cortazar, who does not speak a lick of English. Mike, he's trying to get some answers, no dice on the answers, and he's like mentioning Gustavo Fring. Still not a lot there. Like, why did Gustavo Fring bring me here? No dice. He tells him to sit, but Mike, either he's not reading the subtitles, or again, Mike he wants to get out of there as soon as possible, as soon as he's on his feet. So, Mike, he tries to leave on foot. He kind of pops the squad on a log. Before that, though, I should mention he passes some chickens, man.
Oh yeah.
Chickens,
which, as you pointed out, we're kind of like we've been missing the chickens because it's not possible to film on the chicken farm anymore.
Yeah, it's probably difficult to get those chickens in the first place. And by the way, this is an actual this is not a set at all. Like, this is like an actual little Mexican town.
Oh, nice.
I don't think it's the same location, but it looks eerily similar. It might be. It could be, but I think they shot that one. We always saw it from a different angle in Breaking Bad, so I don't know if it's the same location. But the fact is, we have chickens. But more importantly to me, I love it's like Mike, pulling an old kind of an old Mary Poppins here when he feeds the birds in Breaking Bad. It's like
Tuppence.
Yeah, he's not feeding them quite yet, but he's walking past them though. So I think once Mike's all copacetic, if he comes back here, as we know he will, he'll be feeding those chickens, man. He will. He will. Okay. Anyway, the point being, Mike, he kind of wanders outside the town, trying to kind of find his way back to the main row. Really long journey. Like by the time he gets to the signs, it's like 5 kilometers or so forth. Long walk, and he has no battery on his phone. He's kind of pops the squad on this log, which again. I like the thing's a little visual nod to Mike's death in Breaking Bad, where he kind of
a little bit, yeah, I got that too.
Kind of taken in the sight for a bit. Again, not the same location, but a little similar. Just kind of like
kind of a little visual foreshadow there.
Certainly. Okay. So as Mike's just kind of sitting there, has no battery at all, which means he can't make any calls. He's kind of stranded there.
Off for the battery. Eventually, we'll get there.
It's great. It's great. Apparently, they've reopened, and then Dr. Barry, and I'm always gonna, as much as I love Better Call Saul, the series, I gotta tell you though, and the Albuquerque verse as a whole, this really does seem a little maddening. It seems like something they were just kind of stuck with. But just the genesis of this idea always kind of bugged me. We reunite with Dr. Barry, of course. Dr. Barry being played by J.B. Blanc, the voice actor, voiced Bane in Arkham Origins. Love that guy. Yeah, good voice actor overall. But his full name is Dr. Barry Goodman, which is why I call him Dr. Barry, because and now we saw Saul Goodman way before we saw Dr. Barry, and you think in retrospect, of all the names they could have given this guy, of all the names, really, 2 Goodmans? Is the world that small, really? And like that's you'll notice they never call.
Honestly, that might be kind of the point of the 2 Goodmans. It's like, yeah, the world is that small sometimes.
I guess. I mean, I think the idea, the reason I went with Goodman is this doctor is actually a good man. Fundamentally, I think that's kind of the. I think that's the point. And you'll notice they never call him Dr. Goodman. It's just that no one just.
It's just like the credit.
Yeah, it's the credit. Like it's like probably on his medical document too in the set design. I'd imagine if you look on the wall. The point being, it is Dr. Goodman. We never call him by a name because they might be embarrassed by that fact. It's like, oh, we can't call him Dr. Goodman because it's going to raise all these fan theories and everything. So just the point being that. So if anyone's just going, well, I'm calling this guy Dr.
Like a line of Saul Goodmans in the Albuquerque verse.
Yeah. Anyway, so if we just call him Dr. Barry, now you know why, folks. Okay, so Dr. Barry returns. We've seen Dr. Barry at least twice in the other.
I always remember him for his very passive-aggressive comment in the cold open of like, "He saved my life. He pays my salary."
God, that was great.
That's the big moment with this guy. I remember.
It was the Jesse meeting Barry for the first time. Yeah.
Okay,
right,
now
so,
if ever you say Barry, I'm gonna think of something else.
all right,
So we're
Dr.
kind of
Barry.
either way with this Dr. Barry Goodman thing.
Point being, I'm just going to call him Dr. Barry or the Doctor for short. All right. Anyway, so point being, Dr. Barry, he arrives in his little smart car. I love this Tiki. I appreciate the smart car so much, man. I love the design. I know it's not like an official smart car. It's like kind of like a mini more. It's like kind of a mini hospital kind of version of the smart car. I love it. Anyway, so he kind of shows up, and it's proud. Yeah, I love how proud of his work he is as a doctor.
He's proud of his work.
Yes, he's proud of his work. Anyway, so Dr. Barry here is he's really proud of his work in the dialogue here. Like, oh, look what you've done to my fine work. You see, like the open stitch on the the blood on the shirt and everything. Now, again, remember in the continuity so far, Mike and Dr. Barry had met each other one time before. They met each other in season 3 when Mike kind of had like the bag full of meth for the whole shoe gag. They kind of frame when he's getting his revenge on Salamanca. So the vet showed him Dr. Barry.
Sure.
Anyway, so let's see. So at least I think it was the vet. And, yeah, I think it was before. No, he would have met Fring by then. It might have been Frizz, probably Fring. Never mind. Anyway, the point being, Mike's met him once, and he has an intermediate. He's very intimate with Gus Fring. So again, we didn't get the flashback I was expecting this episode, but still, we might see in the future how Gus met Dr. Barry. So we always have that kind of our back pocket of footage, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so he was asking. Mike's asking like, why did you do this? Why did you patch me up? Says he asked me to keep you alive. Will you allow this? And he helps him up.
I gotta say, not the most thrilling cold open, just because it's sort of like, all right, it does one of those things where, all right, we're back. We're at the start of the episode. We're I don't know. That's one critique. Just because it's an embarrassment of riches with cold opens on the show most of the time. So, Dragon, the audacity to start the show chronologically the last place we ended up. I don't know. It's a fine scene. I'm nitpicking in a poor man's world right now. So
yeah. Okay. Anyway, so
right.
Picking up where the last kind of plot point we left off on. So it's Friday. It's the aforementioned Friday of the following week.
I love the framing of this. Dragon.
I know. I love this. Okay, so we have a bunch of construction guys led by the foreman, who's played by, I didn't believe it because I haven't seen him in a while, and we always hear his voice. John DiMaggio is playing the foreman.
Oh man! Okay.
Didn't you get a familiar sense? I
did kind of pick up on that a little bit. It
was the first time I watched it. I didn't place that was John DiMaggio because I think he's got a little, it looks a little older since the last time I saw him. The point being is I've seen him in live action during his documentary he did a while back. So that's the thing. I haven't seen him since. Anyway, point being, John DiMaggio in the Albuquerque verse, major points there. I love it.
Well, Dragon, we had a moment where I thought we were going to get Bill Burr in this episode.
I know.
We'll get there.
Me too. I had it too.
We'll get there.
I did too. I had 2 moments.
I should have figured it was going to be Stephen Ogg since I should have seen him in the credits, but I digress.
There's actually a story behind that. There's a story behind that. We'll get there. Okay. So. Anyway, so we have the foreman. He's leading the huddle for the actor job. Basically, taking the place down once the sheriff clears him out. Then we have this hilarious, Saul Goodman pop in on the huddle.
Oh God!
He just pops in saying, "Oh man, I think there's a bit of a hitch here." Says, "Wait, who are you?" Says, "Oh, Saul Goodman."
I love how throughout this whole episode, Saul Goodman is just playing up the concerned citizen angle to a T.
I love it so much. I should mention, I think it's the funniest episode so far of season 5. I love it so much.
I dare to say it might be one of the funniest episodes of the whole show, honestly.
It might be, but again, Inflatable.
I think it might be the most funny episode since Inflatable.
I'll
go that far.
Since Inflatable, I'll give you that. Since Inflatable. Anyway, so point being, just to boil it down a little bit here. He sees a hitch with the house numbers, questioning, "You guys sure you have the right place?" And he directs them to the mailbox, and shows that the house numbers are gone. We have the sheriff there as well, showing him the court order and everything. Says, "Oh no, everything's in order here, sure, but what's the house number?" And of course. A little early. I love early Saul Goodman being a little bit of Jimmy McGill in the mix there. He's being really respectful. Again, the concerned citizen angle, just like you said. Because I like that he is kind of he's quite nice to the construction crew and everything. My favorite detail, I love the I love the orange shirt that he's wearing, kind of the orange color scheme on the suit to match the construction.
Yes,
I love
yes,
it
yes.
so much. It's a great choice for wardrobe.
Totally.
We have the old where are we scam, where basically checks the court order and demonstrates the missing numbers on the mailbox. Basically, the address is I think 1130 Royal Vista, and in reality,
With this show, whenever we switch up numbers.
whenever it's 4 numbers, folks, it's major bureaucratical scam artistry.
Oh, God.
Anyway, so 1130 Royal Vista is the address that they're all prepared with, and that is the actual address to the folks at home. And
I love how frustrated DiMaggio is getting.
Oh, it's so great. So basically, we learn. So we have this. I love the scam so much. I love where basically they demonstrate the address is different with one proof of the 30-year resident. The guy's lived here for at least 30 years. Like I think he would know where he lives, but if you want further evidence. Mr. Acker, this is where Barry Corbin really wins me. I was liking Barry Corbin. This is where I love
he's on fire, man.
Yeah.
Mr. Acker is one of the most likable. Dragon, dare I say, he might be this season's. Oh God, why can't I remember his name?
Give me something.
The German guy. I'm sorry, I don't remember his name.
Werner.
Yeah, Werner. That's it. He might be this season's Werner in terms of just like a side character that kind of comes out of nowhere to win our hearts. But of course, this guy, Werner, was very tragic. This guy is very much like of the comic relief angle, with the whole Dragon. I gotta tell you, it's become kind of like a running gag between my dad and I. The whole like, it's a man fucking a horse.
Priceless. But yeah, my favorite thing, Mr. Acker, and the reason I love Barry Corbin so much as this character, the reason this character really grew on me even more, so he's already building it with the whole horse gag. But I just love that Mr. Acker's in on. He's just having a grand old time this whole episode. That's where I'm loving Mr. Acker. So basically, the Saul arc is, well, they're a 30-year resident, and then says, sir, do you have any documentation? They say he kind of like stalls for a moment, puts his finger to his mouth, like, and he gets an idea. He goes to the mailbox, it's right there. Opens up, there's a whole bunch of mail, and I thought this was such a genius idea. If you're going to delay something by at least a day, kind of you're going to stall the whole process. Well, look, all this mail, it's not just one envelope, it's not just one piece of mail, it's like a whole mailbox full with 1240 on it. So this caused a bit of a problem, and then it's saying, okay, look, I got my plans here. So, okay, no offense to the guy who drew up your plans here, but let's before, don't you ask he kind of prostrates himself to the deputy here. Look, don't you think it's worth confirming the address with somebody from downtown or somebody like a surveyor of some kind before we evict a veteran and demolish at least half a century of work within a really kind of like an old school house? And of course, what does the deputy say, Tiki?
I'm gonna have to make a phone call.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be printed on a bumper sticker, folks. Anyway, so meanwhile, we're seeing the ramifications of this at the country club, and Tiki, guess what time it is?
It's tea time.
Someone clean
Howard Hamlin. I like to just in my own head canon. Howard Hamlin's kind of like waiting in the wings, like, come on, Kevin. What's the hold up?
How have we not had?
We got tea to drink.
How have we? Here's what I want, man. In this life, I want a golf tournament between Mesa Verde and HHM. Much. All I want.
That's like the major, like, dramatic thing that the last season hinges on is this very mundane golf tournament.
It's like a charity golf tournament or something. Someone clink the glasses and get the scones because it's tea time. Anyway. So it's tea time as Paige and Kevin are as Paige and Kim are telling Kevin Walktell, it's either time if he's gonna tell you something or Walktell, man, that Kevin Walk. Kevin Walktell, basically they inform him about the whole situation with Acker and the fact that Jimmy is now representing Acker, and now this is a big moment here, huge moment of truth, and as we will talk about later on, this is a big risk for Kim right now. She took a huge risk with this plan because Kim proposed this plan that got shot down, then suddenly Saul Goodman is representing Mr. Acker. But again, she's built up so much good faith with Mesa Verde. Kevin Walktell, he smells a rat, but not Kim Wexler. He smells a rat And Mr. Acker, given like, Kim is kind of railed on Mr. Acker in public view, just kind of chewing the man out. They have no idea about kind of the personal appeal she made at night and being really vulnerable and stuff. They have no idea about that. So Kevin Walktell thinks he's doing this to spite Kim and Mesa Verde. Very lucky on her part, dodging a bullet there.
Mm-hmm.
So of course, then we have the famous line: "Lawyer comes in, crazy comes out." But it's kind of a mantra of the show when you really think about it from the very beginning. Lawyer comes in, crazy comes out. Let's put that on a bumper sticker too while we're at it. Anyway, so Kim suggests, very responsibly and very rightfully so, she suggests withdrawing due to the potential conflict between her going up against her boyfriend and Jimmy McGill. But Kevin, he echoes what basically he says he very much wants what his. It's kind of his ego of like, this is his. No one's going to deprive me of like the best lawyer ever. So if you're okay with this, I'm okay with this. He signs off on it essentially. So again, the faith and respect in Kim Wexler. But again, deep down though, it's Ken Walktell. These are my toys. These are my lawyers.
Blah 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 blah.
Again, Ken Walktell exercising a bit of power, and again, I would argue in the grand scheme of things, we're going to see a correlation between Kevin Walktell and Saul Goodman. That again, it's kind of a guy going a little
bit, yeah.
Which again makes Kim a little uneasy with Kevin Walktell. I can only imagine what's going to do to her with Saul Goodman once he gets to the office.
Well, I mean, especially with like the whole "let's take a shower together," Kim.
Oh God.
I'm just saying. I can't get that mental idea out of my head.
It was because of the voices, right? That's what got you.
Give me a little twirl, Kim.
Oh no! Now you're making it creepy.
All right. Sorry.
Anyway, we like Rex Lynn here. Don't.
No, you're right. We do. Although we like John Lithgow too. I'll just throw that out there. It's not like we don't like John Lithgow.
If you want to see Rex Lynn be terrifying, you should watch The Lethal Weapon. Seriously, if you want to see Rex Lynn.
The series?
Yeah, the series for Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, you've told me this before. With all things considered, I might have to jump on that.
Well, there's a whole laundry list. You haven't even gotten the Travelers yet, so we got to pace ourselves.
I need to watch The Legend of the Three Caballeros as well. I promised Pink Pearl I'd do that. Yes.
All right. So speaking of Caballeros, Dr. Barry.
Oh God, good transition.
So Dr. Barry's catching Mike up, and Mike is asking questions about the town and the clinic's resources. I'm sorry, you want to take us through some of this?
Yeah, well, first of all, the medical wounds are very cringy in this scene, Dragon. It's kind of hard to watch.
Oh yeah.
But essentially. Essentially Dr. Barry say there's no guns except there's no men with guns. There's no drugs except for the drugs that I prescribed. It's a very clean town. And, he's kind of alluding to the fact that, Gus, there's a benefactor. He's alluding to the fact that there's a benefactor without naming names, essentially.
Certainly.
Then he gives this very long-winded, like, well, you would have to go back to the road where I found you. 5 kilometers from here, there's a gate that leads to the main road. Then there are men at that gate. Those men have guns, I'm guessing.
Point being, a lot of walking to get to just El Paso alone before he even gets back to Albuquerque. So the point is like,
then you have to take a long bus ride.
Yes. Point being, Mike, he's free to leave once he's healed up, which essentially will take definitely 3 days for his wound to heal, and then basically a week of recovery time. So basically, he's there for at least 10 days. And they want him to get a message to your family. He says no, because one, he doesn't want to mix kind of that world with his family, and secondly, again, like he and his family aren't quite on speaking terms at the moment. So. Bit going on there. Basically, he advises he take the town in while he's kind of stuck here. Miss Cortazar's cooking is quite great, and you're taking some fresh air. Basically, take the town in. And again, I like that Dr. Barry doesn't have the answers, just the job. And of course, some of the best characters within the show, they're very job focused, very job centric, and men who pride themselves in their work, and he's not asking these questions. Oh, then Mike kind of says, like, so you're just the quack, so you're just the quack who saved. Remember, I'm the quack who saved your life, says Dr. Barry.
And he pays my salary.
Which again, that will pay off. Maybe he's gonna remember that quack line. Yeah, he called me a quack. We'll save him second.
Right.
The point being, I think we established these two guys have an understanding here, or he works for Fring and vice versa. So,
Oh,
right, okay. So Mike, he walks the town very much like we put Jonathan Banks into a western, which has the best sentence
it's
I've ever heard in the
totally
world.
that.
Let's just put
Yes.
Jonathan Banks in all the westerns, man. Let's just do it. Why not?
I didn't get cast as the genie.
Yeah, poor Jonathan. He would have made that movie so much better if he were the genie.
He really would. Would you like to tell the folks our little sick little fantasy pitch for the Jonathan Banks
Well, don't
genie?
call
Really
it
quick.
sick. It's a nice pitch. It's like, folks, if they wanted to make Aladdin different or like
I'm
legitimate,
saying it's sick because there's no way they would have ever gone that creative with the genie.
more diluted. It's like more diluted.
Right.
So essentially, folks, is the minute less than a minute pitch here is that what if we did Aladdin actually different than different than the original Disney movie, and just basically took kind of like the old Arabian Nights of it all, but kind of like took your main story and boy bonds with Genie, but instead of like being kind of a big Robin Williams-esque Genie, what if it was like kind of a grumpy, kind of sad, compelling Genie in Jonathan Banks, who was like kind of like kind of curmudgeon-y relationship with the young Aladdin, but he had like an inner sadness, like all these years, no one's ever wished for my freedom. He had that sort of thing there. What if you had like, wouldn't that be beautiful? Like Jonathan Banks being the genie, but kind of like anyway.
Well, it's a Disney live action remake, Dragon, so that was never gonna happen.
Yeah. Oh well. Anyway, getting back on point. So Jonathan Banks walking, much like he's a Western, kind of walking the town. And again, this town, he's taking in the genuine innocence of the town. That's kind of the point here. He's kind of taking in the beauty of the town here. He sees, like, everyone here is rather innocent, which, again, he's kind of, in a sense, he's kind of, he's basically, in a sense, he's surrounded by reminders of the innocence that he snuffed at. It's kind of like a natural kind of building a tolerance to, like, how can he go on after killing Werner Ziegler? How can he go on after killing an innocent person? Well, he's kind of surrounded by innocence, whether he likes it or not. He's kind of learning to live with it by appreciating the innocence around him, in a sense. He's kind of slowly healing emotionally as well as he's healing physically. I think that's the point of it. I could just become talking completely out of thin air here. I like to think that's kind of what we're going for in regards to the Mike arc as a whole. We have this little adorable little girl. The whole school's letting out, and this little girl runs by. She drops her backpack, and Jonathan Banks helps her out with her backpack. Oh, it's so cute. So then we have my favorite reveal of the episode. Because I was wondering, Dedicado and Max, I can only imagine it has something to do with Max Archuleta, Gustavo Fring's, his beloved partner, kind of the Jesse Pinkman, who was Walter White, or vice versa, if you will. And we have this fountain in the middle of town. Now, I believe they built the fountain. I believe that was the only thing they built here, so. We pan down, we reveal this fountain with Dedicado of Max.
Mm-hmm.
So yes!
I love how the dedication is facing away from the public. That's my favorite little detail. It's like a hit. It's almost like one of those, like, this is going to sound like a weird analogy, Dragon, but bear with me. It's like, you know how in Imagineering projects, like the windows on Main Street and stuff, it feels like a hidden detail, like a hidden homage. It's kind of like that a little bit.
Well, here's what I love about it, Tiki. Here's what I love about it as a symbol.
Yeah.
It's the perfect tribute to Max Archuleta, who died near water, very traumatically.
Yep.
And it's also a reminder. It's a reminder.
Near the edge of water.
Mm-hmm, near the edge of water, absolutely.
Which the statue very, very much symbolizes.
Certainly, and I love that it's a reminder for Fring, but also he's now trying to do something a little bit more positive with it. It's kind of like it's something made kind of beautiful, but it's also the ever-present reminder. But again, something beautiful within kind of this town that is. I imagine, again, the town, if this town has a name, it might be like Dedicado of Max, if there's something close to a name for this place. It's the fact it's like a town, if there was like a mythical founder of this place, it would be Max Archuleta, I imagine,
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay, so Curry. Not Tim, the other guy. No, we're making Curry.
Say Steph Curry. Basketball player, anyways. Your Curry's a lot better.
Yeah, my Curry's a lot. Anyway, so.
Hey, Steph Curry is a local hero, man. Steph Curry led us to like 3 championships, all right? Don't you dismiss the name of Steph Curry. Anyways. There's no basketball this year, Dragon. Let me have this.
Anyway, So we have this Curry shot. Looks very reminiscent of the old tease, kind of the Breaking Bad kind of kind of chemical montages of the future.
Oh, very much so. Yeah, I'm glad you picked up on that too. Yeah.
But again, from the mundane Better Call Saul perspective, again, it just goes to show the mantra of the show. We can take the most mundane thing, making curry, and make it look like, oh god, we're in Breaking Bad, awesome.
Right.
All right, so Jimmy's preparing to smash some pottery for the scam that we're going to see awesomely kind of happen. One of the best definitely the best montage of the season so far. Meanwhile, Howard Hamlin calls.
Oh boy! Now, what do you think, Dragon? Does Howard know? Does he not know? I think he knows.
Well, let's see. So he's calling for essentially he's under the pretense of calling for a little follow-up here.
Word pretense.
Now, one I want to mention too, Howard Hamlin's place is really nice on the inside because he's at home now.
It's nice on the outside too, bro. It looks like gas from the outside.
I just love everything. I want more of Howard Hamlin's home life. I want to see him golfing. I want to see him with his wife. I want to see his father. I want to see everything.
His
anyway,
father played by
Robert Redford.
Robert Redford. Thank you. Yeah.
I wish, but again, retired. So unless we can go back in time like Endgame to bring him out of retirement, like we did then,
you never know. You never know.
Unless we can pull like a Kidding, like season 2 sort of time travel thing. I don't think. Anyway, so either Howard hasn't put it together yet, which obviously he will be able to put it together. I'm just thinking right now. It sounds like I think he's taking it in stride. Hence the following up with the author. So I think that's why he's following up. He wouldn't do that if Jimmy didn't stop by and like destroy everything. So I think just Howard's remarkably zen with this whole namaste thing. I think that's the takeaway here, that he's just really forgiving. And I think, you know what, we did Jimmy wrong, and maybe he's getting it out of its system, and I'm just gonna
right. I like that read on it.
Honestly, that's really my read. But there's a chance that maybe he hasn't put it together yet, but he'll be able to easily once, like, Jimmy's, like, if Jimmy rejects the offer, I think he can pretty much put 2 and 2 together. Like, it's either on the surface or he just absolutely knows in this moment. So, point being, he knows. Question of when we're going to make that clear.
So he knows, question mark.
Yes. So,
knows?
So Jimmy is he says he's reflecting on the offer, taking it very seriously, and Howard says he's ready.
Consideration it deserves. I love that wording.
Mm-hmm. Howard says he's ready to talk over any details when he is, which again implies even if he does know about the car, he's just really open and forgiving about it. Now here's the thing though, Jimmy yet again treats Howard Hamlin so rotten here when he kind of cuts him off.
Yeah, he does. It's heartbreaking, man. It's heartbreaking.
And again, the reason he's doing this, he's like cutting him off mid-sentence. He hangs up for scamming for the bigger passion. I want to get back to smashing my pottery, darn it. So Jimmy smashes the pottery. Kim comes home, and Jimmy's asking for details. He wants the deets, son. So,
God. I think that's the whitest thing you've ever said, Dragon. Anyways.
Anyway. Anyway. So Jimmy's asking for details and the story of how Kevin took the news. And this starts, oh, what a glorious scene. This starts.
I've heard people say this is like maybe the best scene in all of Better Call Saul. And honestly, I think as a thesis statement, it's hard to argue with.
Yes, it's so great. Oh my goodness! We just took the time for a scene like this. That's what I love. So we get to see Slipping Kimmy in action here with with kind of this basically with Saul Goodman kind of like fishing a little bit of Saul Goodman within the scene here, just kind of fishing for the details. It's basically Saul Goodman relishing in the Mesa Verde of it all here. It's like. Did you get a sense that
the proverbial horse fucking?
Well, yeah, a little bit of that, but I was thinking more along the lines of think about the last time we did something kind of like this, it was Jamie McGill in bed with Kim Wexler doing the Cajun voice, doing like the Louisiana.
Oh yeah, right.
Louisiana thing. And again, that was fun because it's not really about a person, but this case it's a little pointed because it's Jimmy doing an impression of somebody that Kim knows. I think kind of steering her down a little bit of a dark path, but again in the spirit of fun. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you get a little bit of like. Did you feel a little dirty with the impression? It was a little bit like, oh man,
yeah, absolutely, especially with the whole shower of it all that we'll get to. But yeah, the whole thing kind of has some dirty undertones.
Where it's like again, like Kevin Walktel's always treated her so nicely, and again, he's definitely
right.
But he's quite a lovely man, that Kevin Walktel.
He's a bulldog, but, he's a nice bulldog.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, look at Kim looks like a broken bird with a little wing.
Oh, God, about that. Oh, God. We made a mountain out of a molehill with that one.
All right, so...
little broken baby bird.
Okay, anyway, so it's basically Kim does her impression of basically when we learn that Kevin Walk does a side sitter, which is great, and I just love Jimmy's a very receptive response. Oh, you never mentioned he was a side sitter, and that is gold. Continue. Oh, good. So basically, Kevin had to move his tea time, and then we set the scene there. And it's again, I loved it. I think Kim's getting a small glimpse of how kind of anti-establishment Jimmy McGill really is, and he's kind of relishing a little bit too much in like the higher ups, the powerful people like your HHM's kind of suffering.
Sure.
So she sets the scene.
Do you think she knows about the car with Howard?
Not yet, no.
Not yet, no. Okay.
I don't think she knows about that. I think again, if she knew about that, I think she would have. If she knew, I think she would have she might be drawing certain lines or basically taking a stance she's probably going to take later this season a lot earlier, because that's kind of a step too far from the broken beer bottles. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Anyway, but again, it's an escalation, though, so it's something that she might be doing herself a few episodes from now, for all we know. So Kevin's a side sitter, and then beyond that, it's like Jimmy's very into the story, and so then she cuts loose, and we've never seen Ray Seahorn be able to cut loose like this with Kim Wexler, and it's so much fun.
Lawyer comes in, crazy comes out. I need that call center real bad, Kim.
It was even then. How can this scene get any better? Because I was laughing so hard at this scene. How can it get any better? Well, then Jimmy does his impression of Kim to continue the conversation.
Yes,
of course, Kevin. But yes, it is you.
Yes, sir, Kim. I need it sooner than yesterday. Got it? But Kevin. No, you do whatever it takes. I don't like waiting one bit. Never have, never will.
More statues.
More statues. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah.
Oh god, so yeah, oh god, so basically this is yet another like fun. Basically, every scam, every fun conversation, that they have like this really reignites the love between Jimmy McGill and Kim Wexler, and like in these moments, I think just Jimmy, all this love in his eyes right now, he just says that like she's like, what is it? And then he just kind of pulls back the Kim Wexler, but all saying, Kevin, would you like to take a shower with me?
Well, shoot, Kim, I believe I would.
Which is, and again, it's twisted. It's a little twisted with the voices, but again, still kind of like
definitely twisted with the voices. And that, like I said, it's adorable. But the whole intonations of Kevin Wachtel taking a shower with Kim Wexler are not lost on me, Dragon.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not saying Wachtel's pulling like a John Lithgow, and I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that it does kind of have this icky undertone to it.
Like if Kim wasn't receptive to it like she was, you're like, oh shoot, yeah, or something like along the lines.
Right.
Well, if she didn't do the thing at the end, it would have been really off-putting. But I think that saves it. And I think it's just the two of them. Again, it's like the love in the eyes of like, oh my god, these two kids, like they're crazy scammers that slip in Kimmy a relationship, and But again, remember, Saul Goodman is kind of gets a little more twisted in the relationship side of things. All those like anecdotes to Walter White throughout the years. So again, this whole doing it within the the Kevin Wachtel and the Kim voice. It's maybe a little precursor. Like things might get a little twisted with Kim and Jimmy.
Sure.
But still, it's a lovely. It's such a wonderful scene though. It's great. And also, again, it kind of a tease at what Kim Wexler sticking by Saul Goodman might look like. What might look like at home. Because, again, we never saw who Saul Goodman went home to, if he went home to anybody. And this might be a glimpse at what that future might be, where, they have these silly conversations.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying.
Maybe,
I've been floating that idea for a while.
I know you have. I'm saying it could go really south, though, because we're teeing some stuff up here anyway.
Yeah.
All right, so, Mike, your scene.
All right. Oh God. So yeah, Mike. He's trying desperately to. He tries the landline. can't make the call, and then Dragon cue the classic Dave Porter score, man. This is like stock Dave Porter score. I swear to God, it must be.
There's a really funny gag with the score in this scene. I hope you noticed it. I really hope you did.
Oh God, tell me.
Okay, so basically, Mike, it looks like he's trying to build his own charger in this scene, like some way, like kind of like either a makeshift phone, but most likely he's trying to build like a charger from scratch with like pieces around the place. So. He's building it. There's a little sequence, and not for a moment do I doubt that Jonathan Banks, as the Mike Ehrmantraut, could not build a phone charger. I'm sure he could. I don't know how it's possible. I'm sure he could though. So we have this great gag of the helpful Miss Cortazar just kind of picking up like as she brings him food. It's like, oh, yeah, that's what he's doing.
It's like kind of big, intense montage.
And you think, okay, we're going to do this montage. You're going to pull like another, like kind of the conversation-esque montage where he's going to build something or do something really clever. Then Miss Corazar, she comes back and basically just gives him like a fully, a regular phone charger. Here's what's great. Here's the gag. The Dave Porter music just kind of stops abruptly, and if you hear the background, there's actually crickets in the background from the natural set of the scene, so it just kind of like it abruptly stops and like.
It kind of reminds me of the tongue-in-cheek way we use Baibu in Forky Asks a Question.
A little bit, yeah. And then with that, like the mice going gracias, just like, oh guys, it's just great. Like now he has like the phone charger, he plugs it in, he calls Gus, and he's asking, you never do anything without a reason. There's like Gus, I love how pleasant Gus is on the phone initially, where he's saying like, I trust you're feeling better. It's just, you don't do anything unless it's for a reason. Why'd you save me, essentially? And then now was not a good time. His clicks just.
Do you think that this is like in my own headcanon, Dragon? I know this probably isn't true, but my own headcanon is that this is like a little bit out of sequence, and that conversation is going down at the same time as the whole Lyle of it all.
Well, Dig, we know it's not possible, so no.
Just indulge me, all right? It's my own headcanon, all right? I things are a little out of order. The Mike storyline is taking place a little, whatever.
Dig, you really don't want me to dissect this, man. Just trust me, that it won't work.
It's a full plot.
Anyway.
All right. So speaking of fun things, Dragon.
Oh boy, one of the probably the best montages of the season. Oh god, I love this. We begin, but before the montage fully kicks in, we set it up here. So we begin the beginnings of a very funny montage of all the Saul Goodman.
Sir, please watch your step. Stop right there, sir.
So we have kind of this paleontological doctor, I suppose. From
I want this to be the next spin-off, Dragon.
The archaeologist?
Yes, the archaeologist. Yes, I want a spin-off of just her because she takes her job so seriously.
So at the point, like we have this kind of this cultural, like an archaeologist of some variety who's kind of doing a dig on the place, kind of dusting off the kind of the unearthed pottery that basically is just recent pottery that Jimmy probably bought from that same thrift store for last episode or something. So she unearths contemporary pottery, but she's not sure, so she has to make sure, and it's going to take like a day to at the most a week. Basically, the surveyor here, and not music to the construction guys. He's just doing the same thing here, and I love. Oh god, I love the height difference too. It's John DiMaggio, he's a big guy, he's a tall guy. I love the height difference between John DiMaggio and Bob Odenkirk. If you really look at him, he's so freaking tall.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing as the numbers. And made his wonderful delivery about Bob Odenkirk. Oh, that was an honest mistake. This is the law. Says who? Says the New Mexico Cultural Properties Act. Oh god, I was laughing so hard at this when the episode came on. so then of course then this is where I lost it completely. And the deputy says, "I have to make a call." Walks off, and then the fun begins. Oh, the montage starts.
This is probably the best montage since Inflatable.
Possibly. So, remember, there's one big. This is the best comedy montage for sure, but of course, Something Stupid.
Oh yeah, right, sure.
Really hard to top Something Stupid. Anyway,
You're right.
So we have a montage set to, I believe, like Blackbird. Blackbird Special, I think it's called. The song. Anyway, so we start with Viola. By the way, Viola. She's been
taking
in the
a little bit of time off from that other show.
Yeah. She's kind of the coroner. She's the medical examiner in the Prodigal Son. She was the coroner's report and everything on the scene of the crime. Anyway, so she's really good in that too. I'm hoping.
That's one with Mike Coulter, right?
No, not my cult. That's evil, Tiki. That
Okay,
no,
well, excuse me for getting my CBS procedurals mixed up, Dragon. I'm sorry.
Oh no, first of all, this is a Fox procedural, sir.
Okay, you know what? Whatever.
No, here's the reason you need to watch Prodigal Son, though. It's Michael Sheen. It's the Michael Sheen show.
Well, there's another Michael Sheen show that's on my list sooner than Prodigal Son, okay? You know which one I'm talking about. And it's about the end of the world, so it's very appropriate you watching that show.
I know. Point being, 2 excellent shows featuring Michael Sheen. Also, Viola's in one of them. Okay. Anyway, so Viola, she's bringing Kim and the associates, Schweiker and Coakley, all these new filings and all these new delays. Just kind of list them off here. Like there's the water, basically Saul Goodman coming out of all these left field, just kind of like interruptions, following all these motions. Like the water, here's something from the water district, and here's something about the land grant of some kind of basically land grant, like not being up to date or being like the wrong thing. And there's the contractor might be an escaped felon.
And then throughout this, all Kim is doing is passing the work off to her team, which is exactly what she wants.
Now here's what cracks me about the sequence. I love that Kim's so smartly, like she's positioned the person she's going to hand it off to, like directly to her right. So
right.
New person. You have like Steph, and then you have Pat, and then you have Evan.
When she said Evan, I just thought of Watching You because we talked about that actor recently.
Yeah, we did. Brennan Loy. Anyway, so I love Kim Wexler playing it coy. So I love all these new, get to see Slippin' Kimmy in action a lot right now. Let's see, so the montage continues and it gets even better. And this is where I'm talking about all the love for Barry Corbin here. Oh God, so I love Acker and Jimmy bonding. And I like to think it's kind of like, what if, remember Carl Fredericks in the beginning of Up, which of course pretty much is the Acker story. It's kind of an Albuquerque verse.
right.
Sans the balloons.
Minus the balloons.
Sans the balloons. But Carl Fredericks, remember he pulled pranks and he kind of like a conversation with the construction guy, with John Ratzenberg's construction guy. He mentioned, says, oh, remember when you poured, what was your response? Yeah, you poured prune juice into his gas tank. So, oh yeah, that was good. Like essentially, that's Mr. Acker right now. He's like the jovial Carl Fredrickson prankster right now.
Oh yeah.
I love that he and Jimmy are just kind of bonding all these fun little scams. I like to think that at the end of the day, Acker, whether he loses his house or not, that he's just going to have had a good time with
Totally.
Saul.
That's the read that I had on it too. It's like he knows that the thing with Saul is like probably not even going to work, but he's having a good time doing it while he's got the chance to fight the system.
He just wants to stick.
And Dragon, pardon the expression, but the whole time I imagine him like, yeah, we're fucking the horse.
Yeah. Okay. So, let's see. So we use a few. Oh, it was a great thing. We use the smoke detector, like parts from the smoke detector. I forget if it's like not radon, but like kind of a battery or something, like little ball bearings in the thing. They kind of like can. Anyways, these little parts in the smoke detector. He kind of grinds them up and puts them in this kind of He rigs this kind of old school Great Escape device. It's kind of an old nod to the Great Escape, where basically in the Great Escape they ditch all the dirt and everything as they're trying to escape the prison. They're digging this giant hole, and essentially when they're playing baseball, they let it out in their pants legs. So Jimmy kind of put these grinded up kind of powder from the smoke detector in there. And basically, I love this. He and Acker's walking out looking at the constellations, because again, their sheriff's deputies are making sure, like, if he leaves the place or something, they maybe call it construction crew. The point being, he's like a squatter right now. One being they're camped out at the place, and so there's like, oh look, there's the Little Dipper. It's like that's a satellite. It's adorable, man. This is conversation they're having as they're letting this stuff out, and then like we have the first time caller sketch.
Oh God.
So basically, oh God. So
by the way, I love Kevin getting the bad news, and he like looks up with a smile on his face, like, yeah, I can handle the bad news, but then his smile just slowly fades.
Well, remember, he got a hole in one. Got a hole in.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's why he's got the smile on his face. You're right. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Then he gets told by Paige. And I love my favorite thing. I love that Paige has to wear the golfing attire too. That's what cracks me up. Paige has to wear I think he has to wear like the golf hat and everything. It's adorable. Anyway, so basically she informs of the bad news, and then we have like the first time caller gag, where basically actors like calling this religious radio program, first time caller, and wasn't your show for a long time.
At this point, I was just, I had lost it at this point. Like, I was cracking the hell up.
So then basically we have this kind of this miracle spray. Basically, Jimmy spray paints the house really well. Basically, it looks like there's like he claims like, oh look, a miracle happened inside my house. Something just kind of magically appeared on it overnight, from up above. And basically, we have this public showing as all these people kind of are bussed down to the church, and they're looking at, oh god, like I assume like kind of a Jesus mock-up on the house or something.
Oh.
And they're taking. Here's what's adorable to me. This is where actors, at the end of the day, actors going to have such a great time. Like people are taking pictures of him, they're shaking his hand. And look how sociable and not grumpy he is. Like shaking hands, and he's signing autographs. He's having the time of his life right now. And of course, this public show, them taking pictures and everything. This is not good because now Mesa Verde has been made to look foolish in public, and now like the house is like it's not a landmark or anything, but it's very people have formed a public attachment to this house, which is going to make tearing it down all the more difficult. So Kevin is not happy. He's holding court at Schweiker and Coakley, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So Kevin, he's thinking about like I'll sue him back then. I'll sue him back, and Paige informs him, well, that would take years, and time is on their side on this because basically every time we bring the construction crews and everything out there, we're losing a lot of money. So Rich Schweiker, basically what Rich does here is he.
Oh man, my heart goes out to Rich Schweiker so much in this episode, Dragon. He's trying so hard to be professional, man. He is like easily the most professional person in this whole situation.
Oh yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Rich basically pitches Kim's original pitch for lot 2375. Basically, the whole pitch. Let's go with the place not inhabited by this guy who doesn't want to sell doesn't want to leave his house. So again, she made a very solid pitch, and I love that Rich Schweiger's now making the exact same pitch and basically trying to spin it a little bit differently from Kevin Wachtell to no avail. Basically saying, look, we're gonna everything Kim said, but if it comes from somebody else, it adds a little, I guess, carries a little bit more weight. If it comes to the guy,
also Rich is arguing the whole like, hey, if we do this, then essentially we win. That's what he's arguing. That Kim wasn't arguing. You're right. You're right. If at all.
Yes, and basically saying, look, we hit our goal. The financial is negligible because we actually get it done. There's no muss, no fuss, and yeah, exactly, and then
they're out money for fighting it in the first place.
Exactly. We don't have to pursue the Acroland anymore, so basically be all done. So again, solid pitch by everybody in the room. Everybody just wants to move on from this whole Acker dispute, but Kevin refuses to roll over and lets some low-life shyster bully him off his own land. No offense, Kim.
And of course, we've seen Kevin Wachtell, be receptive towards Jimmy at Chuck's funeral. So
it was, and again, like he didn't want to make things difficult at home for Kim Wexler, but again, she signed off on it. So again, he's not being fully disrespectful because Saul Goodman's really giving the business here a lot, and he has the right to call him out.
Oh yeah.
Because again, if he didn't say no offense, Kim, then, but again, like he still would have been entitled to that because Saul Goodman's making his life a living heck right now. Dude, you mean to tell me he's got one lawyer and I have a room full of the best? That call, what does he say, Tiki?
Hold on, let me find that call center's not moving one goddamn inch.
And I love the look on Kim's face, like, oh, after all of that, nothing, man, just won't budge. So unfortunately,
Kevin, I just have in my notes, Kevin, come on, Kevin.
So what I love about this is that Kim Wexler tries to pull another Kashada. Unfortunately, this one to no avail.
Mm-hmm.
So Kim and Jimmy, they reflect in bed, and they're like, and I love that Jimmy's so supportive here. Look, Kim, we gave it our all. You went the distance for Mr. Acker, way more than you should have. It was, and you took a big risk involving me. It was a really unwise thing to do and involve me because you could have blown back on you really hard. Again, if Kevin wasn't so in your court, essentially would have snuffed that. Oh wait, you're the rat! Get her out of here!
Right.
A little more dramatic than that, mind you. A little bit more kind of Rex Lynn kind of menace behind it, but
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so basically within a week he'll be living somewhere else, and Mesa, basically you'll have to grin and bear it. Mesa Verde is your bread and butter. It's. They can only push him so far. So now, and this is a really big, huge telling moment of the whole thing right now. So he says, "Well, there is another play, but it's not the rational thing to do. The rational
Oh,
thing to do is supposed
he
to be."
knows damn well that Kim's gonna go for it. He is like, I think there's been some debate on this, on whether or not Jimmy's intentionally like pushing her in this direction. I absolutely think he is.
Okay, here's my read on it, Tiki. My read on it is
Okay.
if like when he walked out and we stopped and we just kind of looked at him like while she's like contemplating over it, it absolutely would have been Saul Goodman trying to manipulate her. But here's my take on it, because we don't do that. He literally walks off and then she stops him after he's in the other room. I think
He knows she's gonna stop him, though. That's the thing.
I would
He knows
argue,
exactly what to say.
here's the thing though. I'm kind of in the middle. I say I think he unconsciously manipulated her as Saul Goodman when he didn't.
All right.
But I think he's manipulating her without intending to. In that, like he says, because again, like Saul Goodman wouldn't do the follow-up thing that he does. There's no reason to take this any further. Like that initial thing was a Saul Goodman move, but the follow-up is like a Jimmy McGill move. Like there's no reason to take this any further.
Right.
You know, the move is we go after Kevin, which is dangerous, and then she says okay. And the fact that he gives her all the connections and everything, that does speak to a kind of a Saul Goodman thing. But again, it's like I think he unconsciously I
feel like this is like the ultimate Rorschach test of the season so far, is how you read this scene right here, and it's interesting that we're coming down on it two different ways.
Yeah. I think I'm fully on the unconscious page here with him. I'm
fully on board with the whole, like, he's intentionally doing this. He knows exactly what buttons to press with her.
I think I said this in that like 2 episodes back too, like in the house, where basically again he's trying to con her into the relationship by kind of manipulating her response to things. And again, I think it's that he believes he needs to manipulate her on some level with the news, and whether he picks up on the fact that he's actually manipulating her. I think that's good. Well, that's my 2 cents in there. We'll see how it turns out, I guess. So, anyway,
the next episode is literally called Wexler v. McGill, so
hopefully so. All right. So she says okay, and we have a little callback to the beer bottle. He hands her the beer. It's like, oh boy, there's gonna be some shenanigans. So it's raining in Mexico. Nice rainy scene. So Mike gets a call.
That sounds like the name of a like 1980s obscure one-hit wonder song or something. It's raining in Mexico.
Mexico.
I'm sorry. That's a silly observation anyways. So yeah, Mike gets a phone call. It is Gus, just making a casual chat. Oh wait, no, never mind. It's not Gus. I'm sorry. That's the end of the episode.
Yeah, I thought you were joking. I thought you were like it's Gus. No, actually.
Sorry. Yeah, I should have been joking. Yeah, it's Gus. He's just calling for a casual check. He's like, "Oh, how is the weather there?" Well, actually, it's kind of rainy.
Listen, I'm sorry I hung up on you abruptly in the earlier scene. I was going for kind of a dramatic thing. I mean, just, we're cool, right? No, serious. So, Mike Ermintrout gets a call from his favorite lawyer. He gets a call from
yeah. And he's just thrilled to hear from his old buddy Jimmy Dragon. Just
as excited as Mike could get, I suppose. Mike gets the call from Jimmy with a job here, and this is what teases me about this. All right, it's like he was so close to like a Kim Wexler meeting Mike Ermintrout scene. That's the biggest thing I want to see before the show's over. I want to see Kim meet Mike at least one time. That's all I want. Mike met Chuck. Why can't he meet Kim just one time? I want to see those two characters interact. And again, we're so close here. But so basically, I love the fish tank choice, by the way, too, where again, we see fish tanks in these scenes. Of course, the fish is kind of a symbol of the vet, and kind of Saul reaching out to his his underworld connects, in this case, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. So basically, we have this like, hey, I'm getting a little bit of reverb here right now. Are you in a tunnel?
Yes, I'm in a tunnel.
Yes, I'm in a tunnel. Oh, the dry, wonderful delivery of Banks. So basically, he says, "So you're back to being a lawyer," and that's as excited as Mike gets. Where, oh, you're back to being a lawyer, but he will never like lean on like, "Oh boy, you're back to being a lawyer. What's fun?" Like, right. You're back to being a lawyer. I think Mike's a little reassured that hey, he's back to being a lawyer. And one of these Alpine Shepherd Boy scams, or Bavarian Boy. So Mike says he's not available, and he says, "Wait, what? No," and he hangs up. Now, what's great about this is that even if Mike wanted to, he's all the way in Mexico. He's probably not even healed up. It's raining right now. Even if he wanted to, there's no.
Right.
I like to think Mike would be receptive to it, but again, it's because he just can't. But then he shortens it just the no. I'm sure Jim, and this is not good for Jim. He's like, oh man.
I thought we had a good thing going.
Yeah, but he'll be calling again. We see there's a really great story reason to hear why he's going to need Mike later on. But anyway, so he helps Mike. Meanwhile, after the phone call, he helps Mrs. Corzar with the window. Basically, this window is kind of leaking all sorts of water from the rain. He's helping her kind of seal it up and everything. The next morning, he's fixing the window. It's such a nice little moment for her. He's fixing the window sill for her, and it's just the pleasant dynamic they have. He's saying, "Oh no, you don't have to do that. No, no, it's okay. I got this. And he's kind of like beginning the process of repairing the thing. So then we go to one of our favorite locations. We go to Day Spa Nail.
Yes.
We have Jimmy and Kim. Jimmy basically fills her in on the vet and the whole underground Craigslist business. I love how Kim just equates to it's an underground Craigslist essentially.
She's not wrong.
She isn't. It's I never thought of it that way, but yes, it is an underground Craigslist. So then we meet Mr. X, or actually he does have a name. Peter Gould confirmed this guy does have a name now. Sobachek.
Sobachek, okay.
Sobachek. Now, he is played by Stephen Ogg. I want to amend something. I don't know if I made this one years back when we talked about the first season, but I think sometimes when I've talked to friends, I've made this mistake. I'm just going to correct it here just to be on the safe side. If I've ever said Walton Goggins instead of Stephen Ogg, I apologize.
Oh, no. Did you really call him Walton Goggins? Man.
I don't know if I did, but I might have once. Because of when Ant-Man 2 came out, I think I might have
Right.
Because of the Grand Theft Auto of it all, I might have thought, maybe Walt Goggins did the voicing. The point being, so Stephen Ogg, who does the voice of Trevor in Grand Theft Auto, I believe. Point being,
sure. Yeah.
And here's the thing: we've actually seen.
He was also Negan's sidekick in The Walking Dead, among a number of other roles.
A big role. You and I saw him in something recently, last year, I believe.
Did we?
Yeah, he's Flexo in the Tick season 2. He's the.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, he pops up all over the place.
If you remember, was a lawyer in that show.
Right. Oh God.
Oh, what a
man. I mean, not like I'm not gonna miss pop culture in general right now, but I really miss the Tick, man. That got canceled way too soon.
Again, you need to fill you need your fix, man. Watch the animated show.
Oh, I know. There's a number of things.
And Warburton Tick.
Oh, Warburton Tick is where it's at, man. I need to check that out. That's the high priority right there.
Just for Batman well alone, you need to check it out. All the years we've dedicated the Bates Motel, you need to check it out. Anyway. So, point being, Stephen Ogg's back, and we saw Stephen Ogg way back during Pimento. He was the guy that Mike took out.
For sure.
Anyways, it's really fun bringing him back. So he's the next PI on call, apparently, for the vet.
Getting closer to QB, not quite there yet.
So here's the story. I'll tell you the story now. So there's a very specific reason we got Stephen Ogg in this episode. So they didn't give the name, and I assume it is for this reason. They said there was supposed to be someone else in this role. But for some reason they couldn't work it out. Now I don't. That sounds like QB to me. I had two moments in this episode where I thought QB was going to pop up. Okay, one. When Saul Goodman mentioned the surveyor at the start, because remember what QB's doing with the car wash scam.
Yeah.
They mentioned when he mentioned surveyor, I was thinking, oh God, QB. Then after this episode, I'm thinking I learned about that whole they kind of swapped out an actor there. I'm thinking, oh God, what if it's QB? So again, I'm still thinking if we're gonna see QB, it's gonna be episode 8 of this season. So I'm still kind of on that track right now.
Okay.
But then again. Could be wrong. I didn't expect Stephen Ogg to pop up. Anyway, point being, so Stephen Ogg kind of making a fun kind of reappearance here. He's basically he was the PI on call for the walk-tail job. This is a big step for Kim into the world of Saul Goodman. It's kind of a no going back with Mr. X and everything. So she's in the back of in Jimmy's old office, and she's basically Jimmy's asking if he's questioning his work's superficiality. So this work looks a little. Pardon my saying, so a little superficial. I love how offended Stephen Ogg is. Like Sobachek is by all this. And Kim's questioning the methods here. And so, let's not question the how, Kim. Let's, all that. So Kim learns that Stephen Ogg apparently had this really clever kind of alarm company ruse. Really clever. It's kind of how Mike got into Chuck's place, where basically he pretended to be kind of a repairman of some variety after he kind of triggered the alarm on Kevin Wachtel's secure window. So literally just walked in thanks to the housemaid. So what do we find out at Kevin Wachtel, Tiki?
Basically that he's got a clean slate. Just very, very boring guy with no real record.
Or as Sobachek puts it, Eagle Scout with six figures.
Right.
With a six-figure income. But of course, there's no such thing as nothing, according to Saul. So he wants all the details. He wants all the specifics. So we get these 2 files filled with kind of these clips of photos. ID kind of took his pictures as much. Yeah, this is before. It's not quite like a digital thumb. We're not quite in the thumbnail age yet in the Albuquerque verse. So like the thumb drive, sort of. Anyway. So let's see. We learn that Kevin's old school, no computer, again, hence all the paperwork. Kim looks over like the pictures of the paperwork and everything. Jimmy's asking if he could check his downtown office, and so he says sure, but Sobachek proposes an alternate plan. What is that alternate plan?
Basically, just take the hit out on Kevin Wachtel. God.
Well, more like kidnapping, but yeah. Like
oh yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. Because kidnapping is a lot less severe than Hitman Dragon. Totally not in the same league at all.
What's better about this too is that one, this is like standard operating procedure for criminals in Albuquerque, where again you put mask on, you follow a guy, you put a mask on him, take him out to the desert. But more importantly, it's what happens to Saul Goodman the first time we see him in the Albuquerque verse when he meets Walt and Jesse. So,
by the way, Dragon, I've missed Lalo the last couple episodes, all right? All this stuff with Mr. Acker is delightful, but I need my Lalo fix soon.
Well, Lalo needs time to create, Tiki. Lalo needs time to formulate.
I'd like to think that Lalo is helping make the food somehow where Mike is. Or a catering service or something.
Oh, you're just silly. I like to think that he's just...
that or John Favreau chef.
I like to think it's much simpler than that. I like to think that, again, like he ran the business of El Michoacan, so basically he literally just makes the tacos in his off time. That's what I like. Along with the other taco guy with the mustache. The two of them just kind of make the tacos. Right. Anyway, getting back on point. Right, okay, so importantly, point being, Jimmy instantly shuts it because he's already kind of on thin ice here. He doesn't want to scare Kim off with the Saul Goodman tactics. And again, I love this too. We're building up the Mike Erman trap at all words that I think in a perfect world, Jimmy would have introduced Kim to Mike, and Mike would have been like, "Oh my, this is the kind of guy you should be working with."
Totally. Yeah.
Like, Jimmy wanted to impress Kim so much with Mike. It makes me want to see the interaction as much as Jimmy does.
Right.
So basically, okay, Sergeant Slaughter, let's get you out of here. He says, I'm just laying out all the options. Okay, let's get you.
I just watched I, Tonya, and this guy is very much like Paul Walter Hauser in I, Tonya.
That he is. The connection. Oh, God. Anyways. Okay, let's see. So they get direct Sergeant Slaughter out through the gift shop. I love the gift shop gag. We'll get through the gift shop. Now, importantly, Kim, she checks out the photos, and she's looking through these photos of basically Wachtel's house, and he had like some artwork and some photos, like some framed photos within his house, and these are the images that she really kind of stops at and she really scrutinizes, and she gets an idea, potentially an awful idea for Kevin Wachtel.
Got some theories on that. We'll see it for spec.
I think we're going to have similar theories, but we'll see.
We probably are, I'm guessing. It's not that too hard of a stretch. Anyways, go ahead. Sorry.
Smile. She gives that smile, like, what is it? And she just gives like the perfect smile, like everything Jimmy wants to see in life. Like, oh, that smile. Yeah. All right. So, Kim Wexler at her office. What's going on?
Yeah, so she's, let's see. Sorry, I'm kind of trying to... I'm sorry, you lead us off, Dragon. Sorry, I'm kind of trying to...
Kim's looking at she's pulling up on her laptop a bunch of images of the Mesa Verde symbol.
Right, yeah.
And then Rick Schweikert walks in.
Dragon, like I said, this whole thing with Schweikert just kind of breaks my heart a little bit just because of how professional Schweikert's trying to be.
Oh, yeah.
Man, he really is. He really does have Kim's best interest at heart in this whole scene.
I love that Rich is also kind of her Howard Hamlin when you think about it, because he brought her on, he kind of saved her from Hamlin in the first place, and Schweiger was introduced as kind of like Jimmy's bad guy in the very beginning of season 1.
Right, right, right.
Like Enrico, I think the episode was. Anyway. All right, so Rich Schweikart, he's basically saying, he's very gently suggesting, Kim, I think I should, I think I should take.
God, I love how he's approaching it. Like, do we really have to, Kim? Do we really have to talk about it? Like, the last thing he wants to do is acknowledge it, Dragon. That's the last thing he wants to do.
Yeah, he offers
it's like
her something.
Him so much.
Like he dresses it up really nicely too. He's saying, "Look, why don't we'll let me and the associates will take over Mesa Verde. Meanwhile, I kind of have this honey of a thing for you with the mineral rights, the beef that's going on."
Ah, that breaks my heart, man. He's giving her like pro bono work and everything. It's oh man, it's so sad. This is like the most sad moment of the episode for me.
So Rich wants to take points on temporary. Again, he emphasizes temporary, and eventually you'll be back to Mesa. I'm not stealing your flying away from, and you'll be fully compensated, and your bonus and everything. Everything's intact. I'm just going to take over for a while, and for two reasons, Kim can't let this happen. One, because of the plan they're cooking up right now, which I think Schweiker kind of senses.
Yeah.
And B, and B, it's the fact that Kim she doesn't want to have this Mesa Verde taken away from, like any like eyebrows raised from Mesa Verde. Period. Of like, oh man, Kim Wexler was taken off this thing. I don't know about that. Like, and we stuck by her so often. Why would they take her off the thing? It would raise eyebrows. Mm-hmm. So basically, Kim reiterates that Kevin signed off on her despite the whole conflict with Saul Goodman, saying we're all good here. You saw it yourself. He's fine with me on the team. So Rich, he wants to be polite, but Kim just drags out the accusation from him here. Where basically, so he's not buying just by chance. She's torn away. He has to tear her away from her pro bono clients, which I think is a little unfair for him to say. But but again, he's not wrong either.
No, he's not wrong. I think he's totally right to point that out.
He's absolutely that's the fascinating thing about this show and about Rich Schweiker. Man, again, it's like we don't have any, with the exception of the cartel, we don't have any true blue bad guys.
Even the cartel guys are likable as all hell. I mean, that's the thing.
Exactly. So basically, then you do this whole full court press on Kevin to give him to change his mind, go with the opposite plot of land, and then he says no, and then your boyfriend is opposing counsel. So these are all very fair and accurate assertions. This is exactly what Jimmy predicted Kevin Wachtel would make the assertion of. So basically, Schweik a little smarter than Kevin Wachtel. So Kim impulsively, she never acts this impulsively, which again is showing the effect of Saul Goodman in this relationship she's having here. Kim impulsively gives chase to Rich as he leaves the room, because the whole "don't make me say it" of it all. Some things are better left unsaid. He leaves the room, and she very loudly, in front of a bunch of people in the hallway, just calls him out on, like, "Are you accusing me of malfeasance, of impropriety, etc., etc.? Like, why would I risk all of this for some squatter?"
Hey, Dragon, that's the question, right? Like, she is basically, like, Rich Schweikart is, like, basically her, like, therapist by hostage in this moment. Like, why, Rich? Tell me why I'm doing
basically,
this.
His response would be, yeah, why are you doing this? It's kind of like those responses. It's sort of like, it's like the same question, like, think about last season. Like, why would Kim Wexler go out of her way to pull a scam with Jimmy to make Mesa Verde more money when Kevin Wachtel said, okay, it's fine, I don't need the X, I'm a little... if it's too late to make those changes to the blueprints, too late to make those changes to the blueprints. But why is she doing these things? Because she's addicted to scamming. But she doesn't realize she has a problem. So anyway, so she calls him out, and then Rich says he's trying to protect her, and this is, I can protect myself. Well, that's how you want. And again, he really is trying to protect her in this scene. He's trying to, because he knows how badly this is going to go if she's caught by Mesa Verde. He's legitimately trying to protect her right now. And Kim's flaw, and this is how I believe Peter Gould kind of phrases. I mean, I absolutely agree with this. Like, Kim's fatal flaw, along with the whole scamming addiction, is that she doesn't want to be seen as the bad guy. That's why this whole actor thing got.
Totally.
She hated being seen as like the lawyer, like kicking a man out of his house. But the problem is, despite everything she's doing here, she's dating the bad guy in a sense. She's aligning herself with essentially the bad guy of the series. Not an evil bad guy.
I've always made the analogy of like Jimmy McGill floating in the pool and then Saul Goodman, his jaws like waiting to swallow him up. So
Exactly.
yeah, Saul Goodman specifically, not Jimmy McGill, but Saul Goodman is very much the bad guy of the series.
Yep, he's the shark with the Bluetooth, man. That's
Oh god.
so Mike. Anyways, the point being is that we're kind of leaving that with Kim right now. Or Kim's like, I don't need your protection. I'm going forward with you. You're not kicking me off this thing, which again might really blow back on her. We'll see.
Oh, it's definitely going to in some way.
So Mike fixes the windowsill. As he's fixing the windowsill, kind of making it tighter and tighter, we hear Gus Fring.
Oh yeah.
Finally showed up into the episode. So I love this conversation by the fountain so much. We ended the episode so strongly with this scene. Oh my god. Man, Giancarlo, when he shows up, he doesn't need to show up for long. Even if it's only 2 episodes, if you ask certain Disney Plus shows.
Right.
And he has such an impact here. So Gus shows up and he tells Mike, essentially, he tells him that he's the anonymous benefactor of the town, doesn't want anyone to know. As far as the town's concerned, he's just a friend of the doctor's.
Oh.
And he likes to keep his business far from here. And again, I like to think this is kind of like the innocence of his partner. He's kind of paying tribute to within the town. He doesn't want to bring any potential tragedy to this town like he brought to his partner.
Sure.
So Mike's asking the big questions. Basically, his own existential problem. He's kind of throwing on the Fring here. Does it balance the scales? Does it make up for? Does it balance the scales? You funding this town and trying to do a little good in the world, and you have to know the people you've had me kill, or the people you've had other people kill. And what's Gus's response to this, Tiki?
Oh god, sorry, Dragon. I don't have a word for word here.
This makes up for nothing. I am what I am.
Right.
Just fully accepting I am what I am. Basically, he's at the end of Mike's character arc right now. It's like I am what I am. This makes up for nothing. You're never gonna fix those wounds. Those wounds never heal.
So Mike says, "What is this place?" Gus is like, "Call it a memorial."
Oh, I love that line because it's perfect. It's a memorial without giving all the details about what it's a memorial of.
Oh yeah.
And I love this. Oh, this is so great too. He says, "To what?" And then Fring doesn't answer him, but he turns to face the fountain. And you know what he's thinking right now. He turns to that fountain. It's like, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God.
Mm-hmm.
Giancarlo, just with a simple turn, conveys so much. So, Gus, Gus puts Mike's path in perspective. Like, what Mike's path this season's been building to. He says, well, you can go on. You can keep drinking, being estranged from your family, and brawling with street hoods. We both know how that ends. Or, essentially, he says, you can be a soldier in my war against savage drug dealers. It's the uncivilized, more savage drug dealers. And Tiki, this is what on the rewatch has struck an even deeper chord with me, man. The delivery of Esposito here, where Mike is asking, so do you think you're better? Says, so what are you better than them? Like, yes,
Oh, he very much is in his own mind. Morally, yes, 100%.
You want me to kill drug dealers, but you basically want me to work for a drug dealer to kill other drug dealers. You know better. He knows, like when Giancarlo says when he says this, he knows like we both share pain from the Salamancas, and so you're different. I am different. This is why me, because you understand what revenge.
Oh yeah, revenge. Yeah.
So what's so great about this too, and I guys love like the severity and the heft that he brings. Like you know better. I'm different. I am different. Just basically staking his claim so passionate, but such a small scene. And basically, what the two are doing in the scene is the two of them are connecting over the deaths of the men who defined their lives.
Sure,
of Mike's son and Gus's partner, and the revenge that. Like, it's always assumed that Gus Fring read up on Mike definitely by this point. He read up on Mike. He knows about the whole thing with his son. He knows about how he got revenge on the 2 cops. He can fill in the blanks. He can figure out 2 cops happened to die around the time his son was killed. It's pretty simple. So, it's the revenge that transformed them into these what they are now. And I love the two of them are bonding over that. That was such an inspired way to end the episode. It was such a funny episode, but such a dramatic end point. Like, yes, that's storytelling of the highest order, man. Yes, Heather Marin, yeah.
All right. Okay, so Dragon, let's end on some spec here before we make a phone call and get out of here. So I think that Kim is obviously looking into some sort of lawsuit for the image of the Mesa Verde logo. Some sort of copyright infringement thing.
Yeah, it's got.
Would you
I was thinking
agree?
copyright as well. Where basically,
Yeah.
I think Kim's, she found the whole Mesa Verde. She's gonna have this whole Mesa Verde copyright infringement. She gives it. She gives that big detail to Jimmy, which may lead to kind of the genesis of one of Saul Goodman's opening tactics. The same thing he used on the Pinkman family, the old blackmail move, where he's going to try to settle with them and saying, "Well, I found out you have this copyright thing dangling over your head, so why don't we just call the actor thing even? So I don't have to drag this in the court." Kevin Waltell's not going to back now, which is going to put him into court and put them against each other, because in the promos, Jimmy McGill, Saul Goodman is wearing the blue shirt, much like he has in the big promos we saw at the start of the season, where it's like he's gulping in court, probably looking at Kim Wexler. And then we're going to have a big moment, like a huge no going back moment between Saul Goodman and Kim Wexler in court, where they're going to be gaming the system by gaming a trial where the two of them are in cahoots with each other, which is a huge no-no within the eyes of the law. So that's going to be like a no going back thing for Kim Wexler to game the system, and whether Saul Goodman's going to have to convince her to do that or not.
Yeah. Right. Honestly, with Mike, I really don't know how much more there is left, because it seems like the pieces are falling into place with him.
Well, I think he's basically going to be back in action. I think that's just mainly what we're going to see with Mike. And of course, he has to hopefully make up things with Kaylee and Stacy.
Yeah, of course.
Big thing, we know our old pals, the film crew, are coming back.
Oh yeah. And do you think we're making the first Saul Goodman commercial? We must be, right?
If you look really closely, we saw the green screen. So yes. So I don't think it's gonna be. Here's I kept thinking this season we're gonna see the commercial, like oh no,
right, yeah.
But here's the thing: if we did that, though, we'd have to have the mullet and have to put on the weight. And again, I'm not sure how far we're taking that, so I don't think we're gonna do that. I think we're gonna do the first of those commercials, though, the first of basically the prototype for the commercial we're thinking of. So the point being, I think it's going to be the first, official, with the American flag and everything behind him and so on and so forth. It's going to be the first of those. Let's see. So importantly, Jimmy seems to be stopped by a cop in the promo after he says, to Kim, reassuring, there's no way to prove anything. And of course, he's stopped by a cop, and I don't know, it might be Mesa Verde flexing some muscles here, the cop. So,
ooh, yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Let's see. Okay, so Saul Goodman. It looks like Saul Goodman's in Schweiger and Coakley making that kind of that blackmail pitch. So I think that's going to be what that scene is. Basically, Saul Goodman going up against Kevin Waltell, which is an intimidating. No one ever wants to go up against Rex Lynn. I don't. I sure don't. So let's see. Okay, end result of all of this, the whole Goodman, Wexler v. Goodman of it all. I think the end result is Kim gets found out by Mesa Verde, and she gets fired from Mesa Verde, and possibly, if not in the same episode, at least down the line of the season, she gets disbarred by the end of the season.
Ooh, yeah, I definitely think we're leaning that way, and I think maybe she's going to go, of course, the Nebraska thing has always been on the table, and I think with Kim it's going to be kind of like a bittersweet victory, where in order to find herself and save herself from Saul Goodman, she's going to have to go back to her roots. I feel like that's more and more on the table. I'm kind of distancing myself from my theory that she's still around in Breaking Bad, just because I have a feeling that things are going to go so bad very quickly for her.
Oh yeah.
So.
All right.
Let's see. So, Dragon, should we make a phone call?
Yes. Tiki, it's been a while, and since we went to her place this episode,
it's been a while since this was coming.
As we've seen her, I miss Mrs. Nguyen, man. I want to hear her lovely voice again. Hopefully, the number still works, and I believe it does. Because some of the numbers, we can't call Davis in anymore, folks. Unfortunately.
Oh, that's a shame.
Okay, so let's see if this still works. 505.
Davis and Maine got a name drop this season.
They did. But basically, if they might bring it back if we see him again, but I don't know.
Okay, 505.
842.
842. All right.
53.
53.
25.
Gotcha.
Hello, this is Day Spa Nail Best in Albuquerque. This number is for day spa and nail customers and future customers only. Please Leave a message or call back when we are open. Do not leave a message if you need a lawyer, unless you want spa and nail services first. Thank you for choosing Day Spa and Nail.
Okay, now I'm just envisioning the kind of client that would go in for a day spa and then also use Jimmy as their lawyer. Maybe Wendy, perhaps?
Yeah, maybe Wendy.
All right. Final thoughts, Dragon.
Final thoughts. This episode's an utter delight and a great midpoint for the season. The Saul Goodman shenanigans are to die for. Kim getting in too deep, trying to balance out the gray in her life here. Again, I think that's kind of where we're heading. I love Mike naturally kind of taken to this, kind of taken to a place of such significance for Gus Fring, and as they're kind of trying to rebuild their trust and their dynamic, kind of getting Mike out of kind of the low point that he was this season. Very natural progression, that story overall. I really love the kind of this is how we get Mike out of that funk, or at least really build that track. The episode, as look at the title, the episode is really about dedication to a cause, or like how life affirming kind of dedicating yourself to a cause can be, or in other ways looking at it can be like you're dedicating yourself to a dark path, again, in remembrance of something. And this is kind of like the kind of paths that can send you down. Where, again, Kim Wexler is dedicating herself to a path of, I don't want to be the bad guy. I'm going to save Mr. Acker, even if it's going to burn down everything around me. I'm going to, of course, the whole Gus Fring of it all, dedicate himself to that cause. That's what I'm saying. We have a lot of really fun parallels with the title here. It's really just fantastically solid episode. Might be my favorite of season 5 so far. I mean, episode 4 was really good too. The Hamlin of it all. It's really hard to look past the Hamlin of it all. But we did get like a little splash of Hamlin in this episode, so 5 might clinch it for me so far. But again, folks, 7 and 9. It's always 7 and 9 in Better Call Saul. You got to be on the lookout for. So I won't say it's my favorite officially until we get further down the line.
Well, I would say so far it's definitely my favorite. I think this episode is just a very, very depth mix of like a lot of sharp comedy, like easily the best comedic episode that we've gotten so far this season, without a doubt, I think. But then also, Dragon, I feel like the rains of foreshadowing are, the rain clouds of foreshadowing are kind of gathering upon us, and, I think this episode does a really good job of illustrating kind of how we have some rough seas to navigate ahead as well. So it's almost kind of a calm between before the storm in that regard. The stakes are high, but, we've still kind of got a lighthearted tone going forward. I'm not sure how much of that lighthearted tone we're going to get. Still going to get some of it with the Kubrick film crew of it all and everything, but we'll see. Going to be an interesting second half. All right, take us out, Dragon.
Remember, kids, when you get that phone call, make it count. Better Call Saul. Saul Goodman & Associates is the one-stop shop for all your legal needs.
And with that, we are adjourned.
We could totally be lawyers.
Totally.
Totally.
Blah, blah, blah. More